What's up, family and friends? Welcome to the Woke Nation, our nation of factual truth. Where we feel free to share knowledge and spread the knowledge of factual truth without fear, without favor, and without fear. Where we encourage us to live our life well through the knowledge of factual truth. It is very important that you enjoy your life wherever you are. It doesn't matter what it is, make yourself happy there. Remember, you can die at any time, and that's it. It doesn't matter what you have achieved or what you have. The main thing is, are you happy? So the main thing is, make yourself happy. All right. So today I want to share with us, right now, what I titled, "Let Your God Speak." Let your God speak. So, and I start with that question: where is your God now? In reality, God is divine, defined as a being conceived as the perfect, omnipotent, omniscient, originator, and the ruler of the universe, the principal object of faith and worship in monotheistic religions, even in polytheistic religions. So, whatever belief they have about God is just what they conceived. Is a concept that people came up, and it's an abstract verb, abstract word that it doesn't do anything. It is your belief that gives power, life, that gives God power and life. Without your belief in God, God does not exist. Without your belief in God, God is powerless. Without your belief in God, God is useless. God has not shown up to do anything about anyone, to anyone, or for anyone. Every claim about God is just that, claim. There is no proof of the existence of God. There's no proof of the power of God. There's no proof of the presence of God. It's just people, making it up in their head and pretending, living like exists. So when they say, let us pray, they're actually saying, let us pretend. The prayer is pretense. Prayer is waste of time. It makes nothing possible. It adds nothing to your life. And it takes nothing out of your life. So it's a sheer waste of time. I don't pray no more for many years now, and I'm still living better as I used to when I was prayerful, when I was praying and fasting like that. So let your God speak. Where is your God now? Yesterday I was having that conversation with an elderly person at work. I said, where is your God? Because when I say no, God does not exist, he said, no, no, don't go to that area now. I say, no, you are an elderly person. Have you seen God? Where is your God? He said, no, Bible say. So that's only place they can, is in the book or somebody told them. I also throw that challenge to him again. You cannot tell me the first day you heard about God. You cannot tell me because you were indoctrinated even before you were born in your mother's womb. If your mother was religious, of course, all of our mothers, they were religious. They believe it's God that enabled them to conceive and all that. And they begin to talk about God when they carry you, hoping that when they give birth to you, you will come out as somebody God chose, somebody God will use. So you will not be criminal. You will not be like other people they detest. Okay. So you see, he's elderly man, more elder than me. See where he hang the source of God, where his proof of God's existence. He said the Bible. The Bible said, I say, no. Who wrote the Bible? You are telling me. Our slave masters. Our slave masters gave us the God we believe in. Whether you call it African gods, it's our slave masters that gave us that nonsense. Africans never have that tradition. They never have that belief before the slave masters came. What Africans have were natural thing, paying homage to their dead parents. They know they are dead. and they are honoring them like, I know you. I wish you are here. Okay, before I drink, we have drink together, but you are not here. So so before they also come up with that concept of spirituality, that their ancestors in the spiritual world represent them there. Some people call it cosmology, right? Then they believe that in the physical world they are representing their ancestors. It has nothing to do with imaginary being they have not seen before. No, it have everything to do with their ancestors. Before white people came, the strangers came, invaded, and begin to create that concept of one God over all gods and goddesses. And that God is a he, not she. Okay, so but the first was the first being that our ancestors actually like worship or honor was a woman, Goddess Hathor, a woman. Because in reality, if you think about it, right, you will see that Africans, black people, they honor women. They don't beat women. They don't subjugate women. No, every subjugation of women started with the concept of God. That's why that God is a he and not a she. Yet, you see, most women are stupid. They fight for that God. They defend that God. And when you try to tell them that God is useless, they come after you like mad dogs, which fate made them to be. So God have mouths. Every God, the gods people worship, the gods people believe exist. Those gods have mouths, but those gods do not speak. They don't speak. They have mouths, but they don't speak. Those who make those gods speak for those gods. Those who worship those gods speak for those gods, but those gods never show up. So the question you should ask anyone that believe in God and they can never give you the right answer or the rational answer is this: where is your God now in reality? Don't tell me what is written hundreds or thousands of years, and that's what you claim to be the proof that your God exists. Bible says, Quran says, Torah say, somebody else say. All those things are called hearsay, not truth. Truth is not based on hearsay. Truth is based on fact. If your God is alive, you see the way fathers care for their children. If that God exists, he's supposed to care for his own children better. He's supposed to care for those that worship him. He's supposed to. And this is the problem we have. That's why Africans have God problem. It's because our slave masters are the one that gave us that God. They forced it on us. We did not accept it voluntarily. No, they kill out our heroes that actually upheld and fight for the truth. Then they force our inferior ones or weak ones that brought it down to us. But no matter what, because we are one blood with our ancestors, you see some of us, like myself, because we are connected to our ancestors, those that come through that blood of the fighters, those that resisted the slave masters. You see them waking up and keep trying to wake others up. And that's how we keep doing until most of us wake up. Then revolution comes. We begin to restore and recover our heritage. It is possible. No condition is permanent. The sun will shine again. That is night does not mean the sun will not shine again. The sun will always shine. And no power, no force can stop the sun from shining. So it's a matter of time. And because they use this book to indoctrinate us and to enslave us, we are also using it to free ourselves, to show ourselves that, listen, this is not the truth. This is how they put it in there, and this is how we can get out of it. And a place in the Bible, First Kings chapter 18, which I will use to show you that is the same thing that is going on. And other places like that. In the First King, you remember the story of Prophet Elijah, which happened to be the prophet of God. And the prophets, that's one prophet of God versus, I think, about 300 or more than that of prophets of Baal and Queen Jezebel, right? So they met at Mount Carmel, And Elijah threw that challenge. So I will go through that, and you tell me if those who believe in God today, who have been praying to God, who are preaching God, who are teaching God, if they don't fall in the same shoes with the prophets of Baal, prove me wrong. If they're not dissenting, they have been praying, they're only making noise. No God has uttered anything. They don't hear the voice of God except in their head. Their God don't walk except in their book. But in reality, themselves walking proves that their God does not exist. Because if a little child, let's say you see a 3 years old child going to labor to feed himself, that show you that his parents are dead. They don't exist anymore. That's why that child is suffering. And also it show you that, things are not working as it's supposed to. Because no 3 years child, no 3 years old child is supposed to be working for himself to provide for himself, or saying he or she want to provide for the family. Something must be wrong for such thing to happen. And you see people today resisting child labor. They call it child abuse, all that. But you're a child of God and you are working. You are working to put food on your table, to put clothes on your back, to put roof over your head, to have things you say you need. Then where is your God now? Why can't your God take care of you? Why can't your God feed you? Why can't your God clothe you? Why can't your God supply all your need, even as they claim in the book? You believe that God fed a people in the wilderness with manna from heaven. You believe that. You believe that God caused water to come for them out of rock by somebody just hitting the rock. You believe that God parted the hills a sea. God parted the sea just because his servants strike it. You believe all those miracles they wrote there that it happened. Yet in your life, in your miserable life, in your religious life, in your spiritual life, such miracle will never repeat itself. And you try to claim that you are better off than those people in the book. You say now you are better off, you have better covenant with God than them. The covenant that his glory is greater than their glory. But how is it showing in your life? How is it showing in your affairs? First Kings, welcome to Bible study. First Kings chapter 18. I will read from verse 21. First Kings chapter 19, from verse 21. Elijah said to the people of Israel, they gathered, everybody gathered for them to see which God is God. Elijah said to them, I alone am left a prophet of the Lord. But that is not true, because if you read 1 Kings 18, Elijah thought he was the only one that left. But I think Obadiah said to him, no, I hid some prophets of God when Jezebel was killing the prophets of God. I hid some. But this guy is still lying, saying, I am the only one left. No, you are not the only one. Prophets are liars. Every prophet, they are false. Whether you call it prophet of God or prophet of Satan, prophet of devil, prophet of doom, all of them are liars. This is December, right? Time they will lie to you again about 2022. This is 2021, November. We're about to enter December. Then on December 31st night, they will begin to lie to you. Or when they begin to do their NDA Thanksgiving, they begin to lie to you. All the lies they told you that God will prosper you this year that never happened, they will overlook all those ones. They still be telling you, keep hoping, keep believing, keep loving. That's their lie. The three cores that's not easily broken. Faith, love, and the hope. These three cores is what keep people in bondage in every religion. Okay. So Elijah said to the people, I alone am left a prophet of the Lord, which is a lie. But Baal's prophet are 450 men. So you see, 450 prophets versus one prophet. You see how religious do things to, that's why when you believe it, you say, yeah, okay, one prophet can prove that God exists than all this one that worship other idols. They're just telling you that, there is one God. Every other God is false. That's what they're just telling you. We're telling you there's only one prophet of God standing here, and these 450 others are prophets of Baal. And we are here to prove to you that Baal is not God. God is God. So, verse 24, I skipped to verse 24. He said that then Elijah said to the prophets of Baal, "You call on the name of your gods. You are many." Remember, he said they are prophets of Baal. Now he's making it to appear that Baal is many or many gods. But to show you, that's how they write this book. For you to believe there is only one true God. The rest are fake. Why that one they said is only one true God is jealous? If other gods are fake, the true God is supposed to be jealous because he will manifest, he will demonstrate his power, and that will shame the other gods. And nobody will follow gods that don't work unless you are religious, living by faith, hope, and love. No person in their right senses will ever worship or believe in or follow a God that does not provide for them, that does not demonstrate his power to protect them, to provide for them. We see many people doing that today. And I will call on the name of the Lord, and the God who answers by fire, he is God. The God who answers by fire, the God who answers, that's what he says. The God who speaks, the God who answers. Let that God be God. Has your God spoken? No. Can your God speak? No. So your God is not God. The true God will answer. The true God will speak, not you answering for that God, not you speaking for that God. Let the God that answers by fire, he is God. So all the people answered and said, it is well spoken. It is common sense. But common sense is what every believer hates, because common sense exposes the uselessness of their God, the non-existence of their God. That's what common sense does. It's your common sense. If your father is alive, you won't go about begging money or borrowing money. If your God or your father is rich, you won't go to bank to take loan to start a business or do anything. Your father will provide for you because he's supposed to be the Lord, the owner of all things. If are you borrowing what belongs to your father and you say he's your father or you are his child? Something must be wrong with you. He said, it is well spoken, it's common sense. So let us see. Verse 25. Now Elijah said to the prophets of Baal, choose one bull and all that, and prepare it first, for you are many. And call on the name of your God. But put no fire under it. Call on the name of your God, but work not for it. So that's why they lie to you in the New Testament, telling you faith without works is dead. No, but if God exists, all you need is faith. You don't need works because God will do the works. Your own is to have faith. You don't supposed to pray if your God exists, because prayer is work. All you need to do is to do what? Is to call. Call on the name of your God. What is the name of your God? Just call it. He will show up because he's supposed to be omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient. So he knows all things. You don't need to pray. Begin to explain your problems. Begin to explain who somebody is against you. He's supposed to know who is against you, what is against you. Supposed to know how to fix it. You don't supposed to be directing your God. That's what you do when you pray. He said, call on the name of your God. He did not say, tell your God what to do. He said, call. He said, the God that answered by fire. See, that's God. So call on the name of your God. Your God already had the challenge. Call on the name of your God, but put no fire under it. It means in saying, do not arrange it. Do not give people, formula how to confess, to possess. Let them call on their God and let that God show up. Let that God answer. Verse 26. So they took the book which was given them. It was always given. All of them, whether fake, Whatever you call your prophet, they're always receiving from people. And they prepared it and they called on the name of Baal from morning even till noon, saying, O Baal, hear us. But there was no voice. Tell me it's not the same thing you were having when Christians pray. Tell me it's not the same thing you were having when Muslims pray. Tell me it's not the same thing you were having when Jewish pray. Tell me it's not the same thing you were having when people that believe in God pray. There is always no voice, no voice. God have mouth, but they don't speak. Gods have mouth, they don't speak. Because they are idle, they are man-made. Say, hear us. Say, but there was no voice. No one answered. No voice. No one answered. Then they leaped about the altar which they had made. Your church altar, your religious altar. Some of you have altar in your family. Some of you go to the altar in your church, in your temple, in your synagogue, in your mosque. You know how you go around that, going around that stone, going around all those things you made, trying to show that your God is the same nonsense. The prophets of Baal did, according to this story, fairy tale. Verse 27, and so it was at noon, because their God did not answer, nobody answered. He said, Elijah mocked them. That is what I do daily. I mock God daily. I mock worshippers of God daily. I mock when I see what happened to them, I mock them. It is scriptural. Elijah mocked the prophets of Baal because when they called on the name of their God, there was no voice and no one answered. Elijah mocked them and said, cry aloud, for he is a God. So there's no one God. Your God also is a God. Call him. You say your God is God. Call him. Cry loud. Cry out loud. Okay. So either he is meditating. Either he's meditating or he is busy. You know, some Christians or some believers will tell you, don't disturb God with your little problem. No, it's your father. No problem is little, and there's no problem that is too little that your God cannot solve it if your God exists. So maybe he's busy, or he is on a journey, he traveled, or perhaps he is sleeping. Of course, you know the God of Israel sleeps. That's why during COVID-19, everybody locked down, both Israel, both Rome, both Mecca, all of them locked down because their God was sleeping. You can't wake him up like that. And must be awakened. If your God have not shown up, it's either your God is meditating, or he's busy, or he's on a journey, or perhaps sleeping that he must be awakened. Or the main thing is, it does not exist. That's why I cannot show up. It's I've been speaking for 22 minutes now, or about 23 minutes. Have you seen any God responded? No. If you're a believer watching me or hearing me, you can get upset all you want, but your God is too useless to speak for itself, to show up. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm mocking you. If you believe in God, it is right thing for somebody like me to mock you because you are God supposed to show up in your times of need. When you are begging people for money, when you are begging people for job, when you are begging people for things, it's showing that you don't know what you worship. Your God is dead. When I mean dead, I mean it does not exist. It cannot show up. Not that he traveled, not that he's meditating, not that he's busy, not that he's sleeping. No, that God does not exist. Verse 28. So they cried aloud. You see, that's what believers do. Anyone can motivate them by any preaching. Although what they've been believing and practicing is not working. But there's always new person coming out with some revelation, with some dreams, with some vision, new church, new religion, new faith. They prayed, nothing happened. Elijah mocked them and tell them, cry loud. Okay. He said, okay, maybe that is the secret. Maybe that one will work better now. Or that one will work now. He said, so they cried aloud and cut themselves. They take step further, cut themselves as their custom was, with knives and lances until the blood gush out on them, until they have ulcer, until they lost weight, until they get sick. Yeah, you see believers getting sick because of praying and fasting. Instead of them to take care of their body, they starve their body gets sick. And some of them die of it, or some of them give up and follow the doctor's prescription or guideline to survive. God keep disappointing them, but they keep changing the gear, saying, no, it must work. This must work. No, it will never work because God does not exist. He said, and when midday was past, they prophesied. It will happen. They prophesy. God will do it. They prophesy. That's what prophecy does. Prophecy comes to cement your illusion, to make you keep hoping, keep believing, keep loving that one day you don't know when it will happen. God's time is the best. That's what prophecy does. So when it's needed, they prophesied until the time of the offering. You know, offering must be there. You must include offering. Okay. On the time of offering of the evening sacrifice, but there was no voice. No one answered. No one paid attention. Like I said in my last video, we were not born to sacrifice anything. I hear some people saying, for you to be successful, you have to sacrifice. That's bullshit. That's slavery nonsense. We were not born to sacrifice. We were born to live. We were not born to serve. We were born to live. We are not slaves. But that's what religion turned us into. People that sacrifice, people that serve. And they tell you that God sacrificed his son, so you have to sacrifice something. You have to sacrifice yourself, sacrifice your time for the Lord. To prove that whatever your God sacrificed is not sufficient. So they need your own to complete it. You hear where they say, Paul said that to complete the affliction of Christ, to complete. But Jesus said it is finished. Paul said, no, it's not finished. I'm also saying, the Lord, that's Jesus, sent me to complete what is not completed. Oh, man. They changed gears. They added a lot of things, called themselves, prophesied, give offerings, and all that. Yet, there was no noise. No one answered. No one paid attention. No matter how you try to change your faith, to upgrade your faith, to paint your faith, it will never work. Faith has not worked at any time. God has not shown up to demonstrate his power at any time. People of faith are hypocritical. They are not telling the truth. They are not honest even to themselves. Their God has not shown up at any time. If your God is a who, then let him or her answer or speak for itself. Stop speaking and fighting for your God, unless you are agreeing with us that your God is an idol, a mere word, a mere idol that people made. In closing, let me read this place in Judges chapter 6 about God, and also it's connected to Baal. You know, they use Baal to tell you any God that is not Jehovah is Baal. But Baal means the Lord. When you say God is the Lord, you're saying God is the Baal. When you say Jesus is the Lord, you're saying Jesus is the Baal. Baal simply means Lord. Okay? So, Judges chapter 6, verse 31. The story of Gideon. When Gideon destroyed the religion of his father, then the people that worship that same God with his father came to kill him, because it's always people fighting for God. But Gideon's father said to all who stood against Gideon, would you plead for Baal? Would you save him? Let the one who would plead for him be put to death by morning. If he is a God, let him plead for himself, because his altar has been torn down. You that is speaking for God, you that is fighting for God, if your God is a God, if your God is real, let that God fight for himself. Let that God fight for himself, because I have mocked that God, because I have trusted that God, because I have told you that that God is useless. Let that God speak for himself or for herself. Because I have declared that that God does not exist. Let that God speak for itself. Don't speak for that. The God you speak for is an idol, man-made. It cannot do anything to me. It cannot do anything for you. And no matter how you try to change it, no matter how you try to upgrade it, update it, there will be no voice. There will be no answer. There will be no God paying attention to whatever you are doing. Because every God is useless. Every God is non-existent. Every God is powerless. Every God, no God speaks. Every God must be trashed. If you must be free, trash every God, whether the one you are fathers established or the one you are slave masters established. Trash every God and begin to use your head. Who is your God? What is your God? Let that your God speak for himself. Let that your God speak for itself. The God you speak for is man-made. The God you speak for is non-existent. The God you speak for is useless in reality. Your miserable life is my proof. Your suffering is my proof. You say, no, God is testing your faith. You are stupid to say that. Imagine you testing the faith of your little baby. You are 1 year old baby. You say you want to try his faith. You must be stupid father to say that. And that's why the disciples or people in charge of children should come and take that child from you. Because one day you're going to drown that child saying you are testing your own faith in God also. The God that cannot speak for himself does not exist. The God that cannot fight for himself does not exist. All you theists, all you believers in God, why are you the one speaking for that God? Why are you the one fighting for that God? If your God is God, let that God speak for himself. Even now, if your God cannot speak online, offline, trash that God. It is always people speaking. When you go to your religious gathering, it's always people speaking for that God. That God have not shown up to speak anywhere at any time. And you keep lying to yourself. How long will you continue spreading this lie that your parents brought you up in? All of us, we were trained to lie. We were indoctrinated to lie. We are brainwashed to lie from birth. And many of you want to die lying. It is time you wake up, stop lying to yourself, saying, oh no, there is God. Every God must be trashed. Look at what is happening in our land. Africans, can't you think? Can't you reason? The people that are leading you, all of them believe in God. Yes, see how you are complaining. See how you are dying. You don't want to rise up yourself. And those that want to rise up, you gather around and kill them, suppress them. But I blame them also because they're supposed to distance themselves from you. If people are not awakened, you are wasting your time trying to build or do anything with them. Leave them. Leave your life. You know the system is already corrupt. For you to have anything there, you have to also be corrupt. Then do it. Live your own life. Let them keep believing there is God that will come and fight for them. Let them keep believing there is God that will come and make a way for them. Let them keep believing. Mock them. And they tell you, why should you do that? It's in the Quran, it's in the Torah, and it's in the Bible. Elijah, the prophet of God of Israel, mocked the prophets of Baal. Why? Because their God did not show up to show that he exists. And if your God does not show up, when that building collapse, when that business collapse, when that life collapse, when those people dying of COVID, till now, people are still dying of COVID-19. Your God have not shown up. It is people making vaccines. It's people making medicines for that. It's not your God. And guess who gave the world the idea of making medicine? Africans, our great ancestors. They created the heaven and earth, not your God. Because we are creators. And when you see someone like me, you know that Africa will rise again. No condition is permanent. The sun will shine again. God